Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back. Be you Clydeside, Stateside, worldwide, it's time to rise up and join us for yet another episode, number 34 now, of the Scottish Falcons show. I, as always, am producer, Scottish psychopath, as I'm known by some, Will the Thrill Waddle. And I'm joined, as always, by my co-host with the most and the original Scottish Falcon himself, Des Stevenson. And Des, before we launch into all the good things, breathe. It's okay. We may be bad, but we'll never be as bad as them ain'ts.
The one thing you missed with the intro was turkey side as well. So if you're standing at the side of your turkey, just about to cut it for Thanksgiving, then enjoy. So yeah, the one thing is we're bad, but we're no the ain'ts, and that's the great thing about the game. And I mean, we'll go into the game, but it was probably the most one-sided Falcons ain'ts game that I've seen in a long time. I would say
100%.
There wasn't even a potential that effectively we were going to lose that game. It was so easy, mate.
It was a walkover, and I mean, as much as we like to laugh earlier on in the season, we were kidding them on that it was going to be a tank year for Arch Manning, and now you're not even getting Arch Manning because it looks like he's gone back to school. So, but before we get into all that, as Des says, and I'd like to reiterate, just a very happy Thanksgiving to all of the Falcons family all across the US, and as we say, a couple of things that we can be thankful for is one, you ask who dat, and we tell you we dat. But my question to you would be, what dat? Because that Saints team is awful. And also, I'm thankful for this defense, Des, because, as I say, I read some nice stats today that said that we have the rookie leader in sacks in Jalen Walker, and number 2 in James Pierce Jr., who is also number 1 in pass rush win percentage. And we also have the rookie leader in interceptions in Xavier Watts. So how can you not be thankful about this defense? As much as the season's been, in a word, underwhelming, you can't dispute that draft class is something else.
And this is how I know when you hear all the rumbles, when we went 3-7 and you had a lot of people questioning, like getting rid of the coach, tear it down. I think Terry Fontenot deserves a pass, and I know there's a lot of people who are questioning the fact that he gave Kirk Cousins this massive contract. But if you look back to Raheem Morris talked about when he got interviewed for the Atlanta Falcons job, when he was the interim head coach, his words to after blank was, the plan for us is what we need to do is we need to look to the future and have a veteran quarterback, but then bring in a young quarterback that can take us forward in the future. So who's to say that it wasn't Raheem Morris that what Raheem Morris has probably said to Terry Fontenot, I want the best veteran quarterback that's available. What did Terry Fontenot do? He went out and got Kirk Cousins, who was the best veteran quarterback available. And to get that quarterback, you had to pay the $180 million contract and get him away from Minnesota. So a lot of people are looking at that and saying, well, this is on Terry. The one thing I would say about Terry is he's always had an affinity to listen to his head coach and bring in the players that his head coach want. And effectively, that's what he's done as well. What I would say is I think his scouts are very, very good, and they're picking up on players like Billy Bowman Jr., Xavier Watts, you know what I mean? The Kobe Bryants, the Nick Nashes, all the players that are potentially going to be the future of the team once they move from practice squad and they get a bit of experience. But there's a lot of people that are just want to throw Terry Fontenot under the bus with everything else.
And I would agree with you. I mean, there's a lot kind of something that we'll kind of talk more about towards the close of the show, but coaching back office wise, we've not been where we need to be. But as I've said to you a couple of times on the show before, there's like, I would give Ulbrich a pass. I would give Fontenot a pass. Out of those 6 sort of guys from Arthur Blank down, those would not be the 2 that I would single out as the problem guys. And before we continue, I did see that we do have a comment as well from one of the frequent flyers. Good to see you back, Floyd. As I say, it's always good to see the comments coming in for the family before we even get situated. So it's great to see you all watching.
What I would say is that effectively we don't expect a big audience today, because probably most of the people in Stateside are sitting at this moment cutting their turkey and eating their Thanksgiving dinner and their pumpkin pie or whatever. Love to taste a pumpkin pie. I would say it when you actually look at a pumpkin, it doesn't look edible. It doesn't look as if it's something you would eat, but seemingly if you get the right pumpkin pie and it's made right, it's delicious. So plus we're obviously up against the NFL games as well, so
and let's be fair, it's a great slate tonight. But yeah, I mean, that's something that really takes me back to being a kid, because that used to be a little Halloween tradition. It wouldn't be American style pumpkin pie, but what my mum used to do is she would keep over some of the pumpkin when we scooped them out to carve them, and she'd do pumpkin crumble.
Right.
So obviously, a pot of like it's. Look, you'll have crumbles in the States. It's like not a full pie casing. It's more like crumbled over the top. But yeah, and having tasted that, that is something that you can add to the list of dishes, because I want to kind of. I think, as I've said to you before, there's one of the problems of going to the States for me is I'm going to come home needing 2 seats, and that's all I can.
For me, so obviously we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK. It's an American holiday, but the best way to look at it is we look at Christmas dinner. So for me, Christmas dinner, it was always fancy if I had tiramisu. If I get tiramisu served at the end, it was fancy. When I was really young, and I remember Viennetta came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, so when Viennetta came out, if anybody's watched and they don't know what Viennetta is, just Google it. When Viennetta came out, it was like this fancy posh advert, and it made Viennetta look as if it was like for the royal family. And they then put it out. It went into all the freezer centres, and when you sat down to that and you got a slice of the Viennetta, you thought you were. I mean, I don't think it was real ice cream. I think it was something, but it's
I'm not quite sure what you call it. It was an ice cream flavored thing, but yeah, it was.
You felt as if I mean, this was Christmas. Oh my God, it's Christmas. My mommy's getting the Viennetta out. It must be Christmas dinner. So that's the best way. Obviously, in America, it's a pumpkin pie, and I'm more traditional. I think for me, it's an apple pie. I love a real good apple pie, but yeah, whoever is celebrating Thanksgiving, whatever you're eating, I hope you enjoy it, and it's a privilege if you're tuning in to us guys. You know what I mean? Again, the way to look at it as well, mate, and just a wee bit more somber, there's a lot of people out there that are still on their own, you know what I mean? Still Thanksgiving, but they might be on their own. So feel free, guys, if you are watching, comment, pop a wee comment in the box, and we'll have a wee chat with you. Absolutely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not everybody's always around their family. The special forces and the forces in the United States, they're abroad. They're not with their family as well. So, again, thoughts to everybody that's not with their family and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Des. As you say, it's a real labour of love. These shows are made from the heart. And as we say, at a time like this, and over the next few weeks rather, in the run up to the end of the year, Christmas and all that good stuff, just as I say, even if it's only a few minutes at a time that you can spare to jump on with your boys, just know that for as thankful as we are for the positives in this team, we will forever be more thankful and appreciative of you guys that give up your time to sit in and chat with us and hear us talk about the Falcons. So have yourselves a wonderful festive period. But let's get into this game then, Des. So while we're talking about being thankful, as I say, so we played the Aints, come out 24-10 winners, and I've got a picture here that I wanted to pull up because I will kind of bring it down to earth a little bit. Kirk O'Chain's words, we did just enough. And from an offensive point of view, I'd agree. I can see that Zach Robinson finally seems to be making some sort of adjustment, whether it's his choice or whether it's been on Cousins, I'm not sure. But we're almost running more of a play-action sort of offense. On Sunday, it was obviously effective. And shout out to Money with 2 O's, Darnell getting a touchdown grab for the first time in a minute. So you love to see that, Des.
I mean, what I would say is that Kirk Cousins was better than I thought he was going to be. Mm-hmm. I thought the offense was passable, and the fact that effectively Kirk Cousins hasn't played in how long? Obviously, he got a small start the game before, but I thought the offense what I would say is I think the offense looked better in this game than it has been with Michael Penix. But again, that's the discussion with the under center and the pistol and the shotgun. And again, Zach Robinson has said a lot of things about how Kirk Cousins is better under center, but effectively with Penix, it's a lot of pistol. So, but under center, the way he ran the offense. And this is what I keep on saying when I call out all the people that are questioning Michael Penix Jr. and I say that he's effectively doing an offense for a veteran, and then when he gets the veteran in, he goes back to basics, which is the way he should be playing when he's got Michael Penix in there. Now, this is where the issue falls. But what I would say is give Kirk Cousins his due. That touchdown show to Darnell Mooney, I think it was phenomenal. And he showed that he's still got the arm strength there. Now, with Michael Penix Jr., we're looking at the possibility it's going to be a full, potentially 9 to 12 months recovery time. I think he's having surgery this week or the start of next week. So he's getting surgery quickly. And it's going to be 9 to 12 months recovery. So there's a possibility that we start next year without Michael Penix as quarterback. Because you've got to remember he's 24 just now. He'll be probably 25 next year. He's still a young quarterback. The last thing you want to do is rush him back, cause any more injuries, and effectively you could cost him his career. So I would definitely agree with that. But what I can't remember if it was yourself I was saying to, Des, but I don't think we could do too much worse than maybe seeing what Cleveland's QB situation's like. We know Shedeur Sanders wasn't fantastic in his debut. We know that Dylan Gabriel isn't quite what Cleveland were looking for, but he has a high-level pedigree coming out of Oregon. So, I mean, if Cleveland are shopping a QB in the offseason, I wouldn't mind picking up a Dylan Gabriel or a Shedeur Sanders to back up Mike Penix. But, I mean, it's a question that I'll pose to you, and I'll even do it in musical form because I've got it teased appropriately tonight. But yeah, we will ask whether or not we truly still believe in Mike Penix, because as I say, not only is his season over this year, but essentially if you take into account his 2 years at Indiana, his 2 years at Washington, and now his 2 years as a Falcon, 5 season-ending injuries
in 6 years. But as you say, he's still a young quarterback. So what we need to be doing is giving him the bounce back time that he needs to try and obviously get back 100%. And Floyd's agreeing with us. He's just saying we're right about that. But yeah, you can't rush him back. But as I say, there's nothing wrong with a Dylan Gabriel. He's maybe not suited to a Cleveland scheme, but I mean, if you're playing under center, he's not the biggest quarterback, but having that extra second or two, if you're working out a pistol, I don't know.
I think that Kirk Cousins needs to. I mean, I don't think he's got an ego, but at some point in his career, he needs to sign a team-friendly contract. Maybe it's only a year contract, but I think next year it's going to be 47 million cap hit, which is just ridiculous. The contract was always for 2 years, and I don't know if you remember, Will, but before the start of the season, I did say quite specifically, and I mean 3 or 4 times, that I didn't think that we had seen the last of Kirk Cousins and an Atlanta team. Did I say it? And that was the fact that there was a lot of, you had to, whatever you say about Michael Penix Jr., the injury history was there, and it is there, and that is going to be a problem. If you're, again, I mean, the next few games could be an easier slot of games. And there's a possibility we might actually get back to 507-7, but if we get there, I think, and we'll talk about it later, I think the coaching staff will stay. I just don't think Blank wants to continue to rip things up after 1 or 2 years. But if that doesn't happen and you do then bring in a new coaching staff, the question is, do they stick with Michael Penix Jr. with injury issues? What I would say is the first half in the Carolina game, it was phenomenal. And again, that's just Atlanta Falcons for you. You get probably your QB starts to show the best that he can be in the first half, and then gets injured in the second half. And he's out for 9 to 12 months. That's just Atlanta Falcons for you.
And that's the thing, Des. That's the thing, as you say, he's got the arm strength, he's got the arm talent, and at flashes this season, he showed some truly wonderful throws. But at the same time, I feel like he's almost hamstrung by this coaching staff because we are making him force the ball 30 and 40 yards downfield. I mean, I know and you know that he can do it, but at the same time, to develop him the right way, I feel like we need to be putting him in a more rookie-friendly offense. And when you're talking about the quarterback position, how much more rookie-friendly can you be than having the best 1-2 punch at running back in the league? But we won't use them. We should be, as I say, I don't know why we've not been play action heavy this whole season, why we haven't been run and then gun. Because we need teams. I almost feel like, I don't know if you're hearing this narrative too, Des, but I feel like a lot of teams are disrespecting us now and going, maybe Bijan wasn't the guy we thought he was, and I'm like, and personally, I disagree. You know well my feelings about Bijan Robinson, and his athletic prowess, his speed, horizontally rather than vertically. He's not a true speed demon, but in and out of his cuts, he's second to none. But again, you need to use the chess pieces accordingly, don't you?
Well, I mean, so I'll take an example, right? Look at D. Alford last year in Jimmy Lake's defensive scheme. It was horrendous. Literally, the start of this, at the pre-season, a lot of fans were effectively saying that he wasn't going to make the team. He was going to get cut. And then you watch him, and he's been passable this season, and good in some games. But against the Aints, it was phenomenal. It was, it looked as if somebody had gave him something. It was just a different player. And that's because he believes in the scheme and he believes in what he's asked to do, so he knows how to do it. And it's the same with Michael Penix Jr. That what he's getting asked to do by this coaching staff is ridiculous. And then when a veteran quarterback who's played 200 odd games comes into the lineup, you literally make it easier for him. It's not a coincidence that Tyler Algier and Bijan was used more against the Aints than they have been used. This is why I seen a good thing on Twitter the other day, and it talked about how it's all good having great players, but if you get great players with an average coach, nothing works. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at the moment. And to be fair, the Aints game was an easy game, but don't be fooled by this coaching staff.
That's the thing I would say as well. Like the ability this year to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory has been quite startling, to be completely honest. So it's been one of those years where if we can find a way to do it wrong, we may just go out and do that. But with that being said, like some of the problems that some of the fans had with the team coming into the year seem to be proven to not be as problematic as we thought. I mean, I'll go on and do a couple of special shout outs in just a minute. But one thing that caught my eye is that Brandon Dorlus is now up to 6 career sacks. He got 1.5 against New Orleans. People are obviously saying that we lack a bit of size, a bit of beef in the interior defensive line. But I mean, the sacks are still coming because our edges are so dynamic.
Fourth round pick as well. You know what I mean? He was a 4th round pick. So effectively, he's a rookie. He hardly played last year. He was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So effectively, this is his rookie year. So what I would say is that for the first time in Atlanta history, we went 4 games where we've sacked the quarterback at least 5 times. You know what I mean? The defense is phenomenal. We've got young, hungry players. I always said that TJ Watt was never ever a rookie. Even in his first year, he was never a rookie. He played like a veteran. And James Pierce Jr. is he's a monster. Jalen Walker is a monster. And Xavier Watts is just a ball hawk. You know what I mean? Who'd have thought that effectively you go into the safety position and you look at Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts, and you can effectively say that Xavier Watts has been the better player over Jesse Bates. And Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in this league. And Xavier Watts is effectively, if not as good, as playing better. So and this is their first season. The first season for any rookie should be about trying to adapt to the speed and the velocity of the game.
Yep.
Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. don't have any issues with the speed and the velocity of the game. You know what I mean?
No.
So it, again, shout out to Terry Fontenot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I would say is that effectively this isn't just this year. This is the last couple of years. You know what I mean? That he's built up this defense. And I mean, we're the number 2, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah, we took a slide off. We did take a slide off. After the Colts game, we were down to 17th. But we're back up in the mix now. As I say, and especially when you're talking about rookie numbers, we've really proved that by letting Terry cook, and this is why I feel like he's not the problem guy. I feel like the process, it's not been a quick process. I mean, it's taken us 4 years of draft classes to get into this position. But I mean, when they're healthy, look at the O-line. The O-line's there. Even with, like, I know some people didn't like double dipping with Caleb and with Chris, and I know some people are even talking about shipping Lindstrom on, which for my money would be stupid. The best interior offensive lineman in the league, so it's not the choice I'd make.
Listen. I went on on X and seen somebody mentioning about a possible Bijan Robinson trade. I mean, the garbage that's out there is, there's just some garbage out there. That's not what I mean. Literally, Bijan Robinson is going to. He's right. Probably for the next 6-7 years, he's going to be an Atlanta Falcons fan, Atlanta Falcons player. Barring injury, whatever, he's going to be with the Atlanta Falcons. He's a one-team player, and I think he would like that to be as well. All we need is, as they always say, defense wins championships. The problem we've got is that at some points this year, probably a lot of points this year, the offense have just not been able to get out their own way. And again, that's on the head coach and the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and that's one thing that has been an issue again and again this season, Des, is the fact that if the defense is there, the offense lays an egg. If the offense happens to turn up, the defense is worn out, or the special teams make mistakes. We never seem to arrive and play all three phases of a game. But that was one thing I was going to say, and that kind of can move us on into the sort of special mentions from the weekend. But first off, I'm going to pull up another thing that has been a problem all year, but it may just be the case now where we have fixed it, Des, and that's the kicking situation. Because I've got the photos here. 2 seconds. When you're talking about Zane Gonzalez, he was 3 for 3 on field goals, including a 56-yarder. He also got that extra point as well, and was able to be crowned NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. So I don't want to get too keen too quick, but it finally may be the case, Des, that the kicking situation's finally under control. So one thing at a time, eh?
and again, that it showed. You could see that effectively Raheem Morris was making decisions based on how good his kicker could be. Whereas before Koo and Parker Romo, the issue we had is that it would maybe be a 50-yard kick and we'd punt it. You know what I mean? So he game is due. He's come in and he done well at Washington last year. He played a playoff game, and everything went well. I don't know why Washington released him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I don't know why, if he was available at the start of the season, why Atlanta Falcons didn't pick him up as well and put them maybe on the practice squad. It only took us what, 7, 8, 9 games to effectively finally get a decent kicker. Again, Koo was never ever going to work. What I would say is we don't know what we've got with Lenny Krieg. We know he's a good kicker, but the coaching staff have been very, very delicate with him. They're not wanting to push him too quickly. But if I'm Atlanta Falcons and I'm Terry Fontenot, I'm literally saying to Zane Gonzalez, right, let's have this. Let's give you a couple of years contract, see where it goes. You know what I mean? Yeah. For the amount that a kicker's going to get paid, you know what I mean? It's a couple of million. It's not breaking the bank.
Yeah, I agree. Like, as I say, the fact that the special teams has been such a letdown this year, I'm so thrilled to have a kicker that can actually hit 50 plus. And shout out to Kelvin down in the chat. He's saying that some of the special teams need to be replaced. Players are running right past tackles, and this is something that we've seen a lot. Not to single anyone out, but I noticed that in addition to playing straight defense, on the special teams, JD Bertrand is getting pushed around a lot.
Did anybody notice Tyler Algier took part in a couple of the special teams and against the Aints?
I did see that, and I was quite surprised actually.
So, and I'm thinking to myself, was Troy Anderson not injured on special teams? So I mean, listen, the fact that we've said before, the fact that we picked specific players based on how good they were in special teams, like the Felipe Franks and the quite there's a whole host of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jamal Agnew.
Well, I would say Mike Ford, give him his due. He had a couple of fantastic tackles. So shout out to him. But
yeah,
now I mean Jamal Agnew actually was more improved this time. But you have to question whether it was the Falcons being good or whether the Aints were just really, really, really bad.
Yeah. And that's why I was trying to kind of set the fans' expectations and say, look, kind of pump your brakes just a little bit. Even if we win 2 straight, it's New Orleans and it's the Jets, so it's not going to save the season, but to win the games that you're expected to win. But at the same time, there's a lot of games we've been expected to win this year where we haven't. Yeah, as I say, we need to start taking the gimme games, and it'll start to dispel some of these myths. But as I say, we win these games, as you said earlier, Des, and then you start to think, oh, but are we going to have the same coaches now that we're starting to get it? So there's 2 points to it.
The issue is the Falcons are not feared. They're not a feared team. You don't see the Falcons on your schedule and go, that's going to be a tough game. You see the Falcons, and again, somebody said, you know what I mean, we've lost twice to Carolina Panthers. You know what I mean? Bryce Young effectively turns into Peyton Manning against the Falcons, and then effectively turns into, I don't know, I wouldn't even say Jameis Winston, turns into Ryan Leaf. Against every other team, you know what I mean? So the issue we've got is that our divisional teams do not fear us. Tampa Bay aren't looking at the Falcons and thinking they're going to be a tough game. You know what I mean? The Buccaneers have got this season to lose. And Carolina Panthers, but they're 6-6. I mean, who's seen that coming? But what I would say is that if you looked at their schedule, it's absolutely shocking. So let me just put it up. Carolina Panthers schedule. So effectively, they've got next week. They've got the Rams. Then they've got the Saints. Then they've got the Bucks, they've got the Seahawks, and then they've got the Bucks again. So that's quite tough. The issue we've got, if we're talking about where we stand just now, I know we were going to talk about that, but if we're talking about where we stand just now, the issue I see is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule is relatively easy. You know what I mean? So you effectively look at theirs. Theirs is the Cardinals, the Aints, us, the Panthers, the Dolphins, and then the Panthers again.
Yep.
So,
and this is the thing. It's been the case for 5 years now. Tampa Bay don't need rear views because there's no threat in the South. And then this is what I said a few times at the start of the season, and Des will back me up here. I made it abundantly clear that if we wanted to achieve a sustainable modicum of success, we would have to run the South, because look at divisions like the the AFC West, the AFC North, even the NFC North, where there are real powerhouse teams punching each other in the face every week to get that division title. It doesn't happen in the NFC South, and that's what we need. Is we need to put the fear back into these teams again.
And that's the biggest issue, mate. The biggest issue is we get players that would put fear into you, and we're using them wrong. And I guarantee you that the offensive coordinators are looking at this Atlanta Falcons team and going, that defense is tough. You know what I mean? We need to schematically change what we're doing. against this defense. It's you've got Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts in the back. You've got effectively James Pearce Jr., Jalen Walker, Onyemata, and Brandon Dorless, Caden Ellis. I mean, it's talent everywhere and tough guys. But the defensive coordinators, all they're doing is they're going, right, okay, see if we stop Bijan and Tyler, that's us. Game over. You know what I mean? So
100% agree. And as you say, that's I've always made the point that I want my defense to hit hard but hit clean. So shout out again to inside linebacker Caden Ellis. He's been nominated for the 2025 Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. And that's what we love to see. And that's what I feel like Jeff Ulbrich was trying to instill in this defense with his heart, mind, fist philosophy. I'm going to knock you on your arse, and then I'm going to help you up. And then I'm going to do it again and again and again. And it's great to see, Des.
I can honestly say it's the best thing that ever came out of the Aints, mate. Honestly, I mean, they had him for about 3-4 years and used him wrong. And again, fair play. Terry Fontenot brought him in, and we've used him. I mean, he phenomenal. I mean, he's one of the captains. He's a phenomenal player. The speed, his hindsight. He just sees things happening. But what I would say is we can be all happy that we beat the Aints, but as Kelvin O'Connor 1660 says, the Aints are horrible. I mean, and that's it. With that game on Sunday, we don't know which Atlanta playing well or which the Aints playing bad. But as I said before, mate, that is probably the most one-sided Falcons Aints game that I can remember for a long time. And I mean, effectively they had a pick six, and they got 7 points. And apart from that, so the defense only effectively let 3 points go past them, and that was a field goal. You know what I mean? The defense controlled that game on Sunday, and it was beautiful to watch. It showed as well, Will, that all we need is a competent offense. We don't effectively the way we were at the start of the season, the other way. We believed that the offense was going to be a juggernaut, and that all we needed was a competent defense. We've now got a defense that's a juggernaut, and now all we need is a competent offense. You know what I mean?
And it really has been one of those seasons, as we say. We can't arrive in all three phases.
the Falcons, it's always upside down world of the Falcons. You know what I mean? We create history, but in a bad way. You know what I mean? You see what after these games, first player in history to do 200 yards, blah, 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 in the first half. And I mean, we create history in a bad way. And as I said before, teams don't fear us, and we need to change that.
Well, that's one thing I will say is the amount of headlines for the young guys on this defense. They're going to start to see something soon if they don't by now. But as we've said since the off season, we trusted the process. We let Terry cook, and taking Jack Nelson out of the equation, who's not quite ready. 4 out of 5 of those guys that you took in that draft, just phenomenal, pro ready. I mean, as you say, I mean, it was a big risk starting 4 rookies, but it's self-evidently proved to be the best option.
I mean, I actually done something today. Somebody put up a post and said that we land on Mars and we go into one of the caves, and there's four words written in that cave. What are these words? And I put up on my X, Atlanta won the trade.
I will die on that hill.
I mean, how can anybody? This is the issue with the mainstream media. How are they? Listen, we're 4-7. We know that, but the plaudits that we should be getting for this defense and for James Pearce Jr., for Jalen Walker, Now, bearing in mind that Mike Mayock said he had Jalen Walker over. What was the guy that went before him?
You talking about Michael Walker?
No. The was it? I can't remember, but he had him over the first defensive tackle that went, and he said that he seen Jalen Walker as a Micah Parsons, a bit undersized, but all the talent was there. And believe me, we're now starting to see that. So what I would say is that this season might be over. Potentially it might be over, but I'll tell you what, there's phenomenally a lot of positives that we're seeing from this team. That's why I think, unfortunately, that come the end of the season, we're going to run with this coaching staff again next year.
Yeah. And another really good question here. I'll let you tackle this one first, Des, from Kelvin. So speaking of defence, when are we going to see Trice and Troy? They're quickly becoming expendable.
Yeah.
For me, Troy Anderson needs to get fit quick. But at the same time, again, he's talented, so I don't want to hamper his long-term prognosis and things like that. But for me, the guy who's surplus to requirement right now, who we could maybe get a bit of capital back for that we could use for next season, would be Arnold Ebiketie. Because we have Leonard Floyd there to be that edge mentor sort of thing to JPJ, to Jalen, to these guys. So I think if you're going to get rid of someone from the front seven, my pick would be Ebiketie. But do you agree with that, Des, or would you look at shopping a Trice or a Troy Anderson?
What I would say is that if you're Braylon Trice or Troy Anderson and you're looking at this defense, you're wondering. I mean, you're looking at this and you're wondering if you're going to get back into this team. You know, I mean, Braylon Trice, I think probably potentially could, but what I would say is Troy Anderson's a great linebacker, but him and Caden Ellis, it was always going to be the speed and everything, but the problem you've got with Troy Anderson is he can't stay healthy, so you can't build around that. You can build around Caden Ellis, but you just can't build around Troy Anderson. If I'm Atlanta Falcons, I'm letting him go at the end of the season, to be honest. Try and get some capital, but you've effectively waited 2 years injury. Two years of injuries. You're not going to get much capital. Braylon Trice, I liked what I seen from Braylon Trice. I thought he played really well when we did see him, and I think as a rotational guy, I think he would be great. So I think out of them, Ebiketie, I think his contract is. I think next year he'll get quite a bit of cash. So yeah, and to be honest, I never ever thought I'd say this, but we're at a position where we could let one of our better defensive tackles go, and not worry about it. You know what I mean? So, you there, Will? No, Will's away. Right, let's have a wee look at the questions. So, Troy or Ebiketie? Yeah, absolutely, Floyd. I'm going to actually look at over the cap and see what Ebiketie's contract is sitting at. I think it's like $7 million next year. Let me just see. Ebiketie. No, he's not there. But this year he's showing. So he's paid $2 million this year, so that's not bad actually for a rotational guy. What I would say is that if you look at the defense and what we've done in the last couple of years, I honestly believe that the coaching staff is going to probably get another year back. I think they'll probably allow it to go for another year. But I think the positives from my point of view is the fact that I think that that Terry Fontenot is effectively going to get another year as well, and I'm happy with that. I think a lot of his drafts have been questioned, but when you look back, I think Bijan's been a complete hit. Tyler Algier was a 5th round pick. He's been a hit. There's obviously been issues. Again, the defense was abysmal the last couple of years, and you could see that what he's done and he's built up over the last few years. And this draft has been phenomenal. I mean, we only had 5 picks, and we effectively got 4 starters out of 5 picks. You then look at the undrafted free agents. We've got Kobe Bryant, who effectively is now starting to play. We've not seen Nick Nash, but there's some phenomenal players there that we can put our future on. Right, let's move on. So again, Floyd's got whatever trade they do, it will improve the team. Do it, yeah, absolutely. As I say, for Troy Anderson, the biggest issue is the fact that he's just injury prone. He's major injury prone. And effectively the same question that's going to come up for Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr., I think it's 3 or 4 years where he's had season-ending injuries. So it's going to come a point where you can't put your offense or you can't put your team on a QB that's effectively injury prone. On Michael Penix Jr., I think the biggest issue is the fact that if they do move on from the coaching staff, it's a question of what exactly do they do with Michael Penix Jr. If you're coming in as a head coach for the Falcons and you've got effectively an injury-prone quarterback, you're going to look and say, well, what do we do? Do we go to the draft? Do we trade somebody? But the issue you've got in the NFL is there's a whole lot of really, really good QBs, but there's quite a lot of average QBs. And that's the issue we've got. If I'm Terry Fontenot, I'm sitting down with Kirk Cousins and asking him to sign a team-friendly deal. He's made nearly over $300 million with all the teams he's played for. He's effectively been paid. It'll be paid $180 million on this contract, I think. Now that's the contract. I think he's been paid 110, which is guaranteed. So effectively, in half a season, he's walked away with $110 million. So it comes a point where Terry Fontenot has to say to him, listen, guys, listen, Kirk, it's comes a time where your family's happy in Atlanta, your wife's from Atlanta, comes a time where effectively you need to sign a team-friendly contract. And then we might go into the season, next season, starting with Kirk Cousins, and then allow Michael Penix Jr. to come back. But what I would say is that if you've got Michael Penix Jr. as your main quarterback, you're going to have a good or a really good backup quarterback and veteran quarterback if you're going to take the chance with Michael Penix Jr. So that's where we stand. What I would say is, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It looks as if Wolves obviously get major issues, and I can't talk for another 45 minutes. So we're going to wrap this up. Remember, on Saturday, we'll be here at 8:30 UK time, which is 3:30 Atlanta time. So tune in then. We'll talk a wee bit more about the Jets game. And, oh, here he comes. Here he's back.
Hello, guys.
I'll be back. Yeah, I was about to wrap up because I just assumed that you were off.
No, I offer my sincere apologies to the chat. I was able to get it sorted just in enough time there, so we can give you another wee 10 or 20 minutes before we close it out there, guys. So sorry again. Where did we get to this?
Yeah, I was just talking about the Kirk Cousins and him signing a team-friendly deal, mate. So,
right. Well, yeah, I'd agree with that, because remember the point I made when we got rid of Grady Jarrett was he had the option to sign something that worked a little bit more for all parties, and he wanted to get those last extra couple of mil before he rode off into the sunset. I'm not going to say to him, given where we were sort of 2 seasons ago into 1 season ago, I can't say I blame him for wanting to get that bag. But as I say, like, there comes a point where, especially as an older QB, you know you're serving as a bridge player. You know it's not going to be a long-term thing. You're not going to have 6, 7, 8 years of the Kirk Cousins experience. So I think that he needs to. Plus, look at the top 10 earners all time. I think Kirk Cousins is well in the number 9 or 8 or something now.
Yeah. So Kirk Cousins, all in all, has made $293 million. So
there you have it.
His cap hit next year with the Falcons will be $57.5 million with a base salary of $35 million. So that's I mean, that would be effectively 19.2% of the cap at $57.5 million. So we can't carry that. And that's what I'm saying. His wife's from Atlanta. I'm pretty sure she would love to finish, for him to finish his career there. Effectively, the teams have showed, whatever he does this season, the teams have showed that they don't believe that Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that you build your franchise with. He's too old. He's a bridge quarterback now. He's at that point. So why not be a bridge quarterback here, starting next year, and effectively do another year with the team, hit over your 300 million for the year for your career, and then you jump off into the distance and count your money.
That's it. Like, I mean, he's got a great mind for the game. Like, hearing him speak about it, there's no reason why there's not some opportunities for coaching, for pass game coordination or things in his future. So, I mean, the ability to make money doesn't just stop with his throwing arm. So I would 100% agree with you. He has to kind of not rest on his laurels and go, nah, I've reached a point in my career where I want to be here for Mike to obviously give him some solidarity, if that narrative is true. Because I did find myself questioning that, obviously, because of what Penix had said. But at the same time, I needed Kirk to double down for my money and go, no, I'm going to be the guy you essentially brought me in here to be. You didn't bring me in here to revive my career. You didn't bring me in here to be an Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or someone of that ilk, even a Joe Flacco to a certain extent. But the question is whether or not he's going to do it, because with the limited sample size, the injuries as well that have hampered him over the last few years, I don't see us, and obviously the sheer amount of money, I don't see us being able to ship that contract out. To be quite honest, I don't see.
Yeah, but see if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm going to say to you, I would sit down with Atlanta and say, listen, I'm going to finish the season with you guys. I'm going to show you that I'm worth keeping next year. And then at that point, it's your decision. What are you doing? Are you going to stick with me for a wee while? Because bear in mind that long term, it was always going to be that Michael Penix was going to be sitting for so long. Now, he's effectively going to be out for 9 to 12 months. And at that point, it's not after 12 months he just doesn't bounce back and then everything's fine. He's going to have a period of easing in. So if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm saying, listen, I'll sign the contract, right? I'm starting the season as number 1 QB, and I'm going to make sure that nobody moves me. I'm going to make sure that I'll show you what happens when I'm injury free. and effectively the injury that I got with against the Aints last year was the reason why the season went downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would be saying.
Yeah, I'd agree. And as you say, there's kind of two ways you can look at it, because now we've essentially circled back full circle to a position where we thought we were going to be in the first place. So again, as I said earlier in the show, there's nothing to stop you bringing in for the right money a serviceable QB3, a Dylan Gabriel, the kid that used to play in San Fran, a Trey Lance, someone like that.
Jones.
Yeah, or
Lance.
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Someone like that to maybe be a serviceable QB3, to where, because they say you've got two QBs, you've got none, but I feel like in a situation as unique as ours. But again, you can look at the injury in two lights. You can say, yeah, it's five injuries in 6 years, or you can say, well, he knows what it's like to fight back from those injuries, because he was still able to get to a point where he was taken 8th overall. So he's obviously shown that he can bounce back, still play at a high level. And it's at Washington. It's not like it's like North Dakota State he was playing at or something like that. So, I mean, I feel. Sorry,
that's what I've got, Will, is that it's all good saying that you could look at maybe Mac Jones. As I said, Mac Jones is in a Shanahan offense, and it's easier for them. The issue I've got is with Zach Robinson. You can't just bring in like a Mac Jones, pop him into that offense, and it's going to work, because it's it's just so disjointed. There's so much. Listen, if he done the offense the way he does the offense against the Aints, then that offense actually worked. It was presentable. It worked. And mostly it was under center, which is just ridiculous. It's just crazy. It's mind blowing. And then you have Michael Penix and pistol most of the time. So it's effectively what offense and what offense scheme is Zach Robinson going to call? And that's the biggest issue. It's not an offense. It's not a Shanahan offense or a McVay offense that you can just walk into and you're straight into it. You know what I mean? There's enough. What I would say is there's enough really, really good QBs out there that effectively in the right scheme could be passable and could effectively be decent for your franchise. But what I would say is if you're a quarterback out there and you know that Michael Penix is going to come back, and when he comes back, he's taking the job, there's going to be a lot of QBs that are going to say, no, I'll pass. I'll maybe try this team. There's a chance that I actually start on this team and I can keep. There's nobody behind me that's going to take my job if I struggle the first few weeks. Whereas that could happen in Atlanta.
And I mean, and I have seen some people talking about potentially drafting a quarterback. One that I do like the look of, and shout out to Auntie Pam because he's the QB for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, is Haynes King. I feel like he's pro ready. I feel like he can run a play action scheme very, very well. My caveat to that, though, is that he's probably going to be a first round talent, and we don't have a first round pick. So to get a Haynes King, you'd have to give something up to get back into the mix, and that's where things start to get a bit dicey again. Mate, see, to be honest, mate, see before Sunday, when I thought that we were going to effectively get the old Kirk Cousins we've seen in the second half against the Panthers, I actually said, why don't we just go and fucking sign Desmond Ridder back? I would happily have went with Desmond Ridder on Sunday, mate. Desmond Ridder wasn't a bad quarterback. He was he was through in at the wrong time and he made some bad mistakes. But if you go back and watch some of his throws, some of his passes, there was some decent, really, really good quarterback play there. Effectively, Desmond Ridder goes down in Atlanta Falcons history the same way as Vic Beasley goes down in the Atlanta Falcons history, as if he was a complete bomb.
He wasn't a complete bomb. He wasn't a top echelon QB, but he was passable. He was all right. It wasn't too bad. We won games with him. We lost games.
He was right in that mix of QB2s, in my opinion. I feel like he was right in that sort of... I'm not saying he was the best QB2 in the league, but he was probably top 10, top 12. He was definitely good to have. And you know what? See, thinking about the offense that he's going back into in Minnesota now that he's back on their practice squad, with the weapons that he's got to throw to, especially with, Justin Jefferson. I feel like he could make me look like a good QB. So it's like... But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But shout out to Anthony White down in the comments as well. He's saying if the Falcons have a second or a third, Haynes King can probably be had. I feel like it's something, like, as I say, it's definitely something to think about. But if you're gonna, it all depends. With the last few issues Des and I have raised, it depends how much Kirk actually wants in his pocket. It's going to depend on whether it's going to be neither 9 months or 12 for Mike. But yeah, if you're talking about a round 3 QB, provided we use round 2 maybe on a nose or maybe another corner, I wouldn't be against a Haynes King in round 3.
I think that the issue we've got, mate, is that if Michael Penix is going to come back, you're going to need a veteran quarterback behind him. You can't have a rookie quarterback sitting behind him.
That's fair.
And that's it. If Michael Penix Jr. goes down again, then you're at a point where it's going to be game over. And it's unfortunate because effectively in the first half of the Carolina game, we were thinking this boy. I mean, it was fantastic. It really was probably one of his best first halves, and then he gets injured, and effectively the doom comes round Atlanta Falcons again. That the future is, his injury. He's had so many injuries. It's the other ACL. It's just there's so many negatives around it, but the positives is you can't write this guy off. You can't just say that's it for him. You need to. Joe Burrow's come back from an ACL. You know what I mean. So effectively, it's the first injury he's had in a few years. So you just need to give him time, but. What you do then need to do is you need to go out and maybe look at a Jameis Winston or, as you say, a Dylan Gabriel, somebody. Or if Kirk Cousins does stay and say and decides he's going to take a team-friendly contract for a year, then Kirk Cousins. And then it's all a case of Kirk Cousins says to Mike Penix, listen, if you want in this team, you need to get me out of the team because I'm going to be balling. And then there's competition, friendly competition there. You know what I mean? But it's all about effectively Michael Penix has to move Kirk Cousins out the way. You know what I mean? Because let's be fair to Kirk Cousins, it was an injury that caused all the issues with this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we wrote him off. To be honest, if you look at training camp, Kirk Cousins looked really, really good in training camp. You know what I mean? So
he did.
And to be honest, I keep on saying you can't say how good they were against the Aints because it's the Aints. The Aints were woeful. But from what you've seen, he's still got the arm talent. He's still got a bit of strength in his arm with that Darnell Mooney touchdown. So I'd be sitting down and saying, right, come on, Kirk, let's see what we can let's do something here. If you want to go through, if you want to go in next year with the contract you've got, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, if you want 35 million, shows $35 million worth of play. I'd completely agree with that. But that was the question that I was going to pose to you in song form because, as I say, we've kind of spoke about it tonight. And although it doesn't concern our compatriot here, Joe Hendry, I will do it in song form. So we asked tonight if you say his name and he appears, do we believe in Mike Penix? And the question and the answer to that would be Yes. But ask us again at the start in the off season, and the answer may be slightly different depending on what happens. But as I say, you're just going to have to keep it here with your boys, and we'll break it all down for you, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it all. But yeah, as I say, we'll get more in depth into the Jets game upcoming this weekend on Saturday at the same time. So, as we say, be here or be square. But yeah, in closing, as I say, we always like to do a little. Sorry about that. A little bit of Q&A. So if you do have any last minute questions for Des and I just before we wrap it up, now would be the time to drop it. But I mean, as I say, it's this weekend for me, Des. It's going to be another one of those ones where if we lose, it's going to be a despicable loss, and if we win, we won't get the credit. Similarly to the Saints game, because we're playing in New York Jets. So I feel like our next test. I mean, I'm pretty sure we still have the Rams to play as well. So that'll be more. That'll be more of a real sort of measure of where we are to kind of close the season out for me. But yeah, as I say, if we're looking at a season that's effectively over, all I want to do is sweep the Aints, because at least that's one small pleasure that we can take.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, this is how I get really upset when you see. Bryce Young, how well he played against us. I mean, effectively, the Aints beat the Panthers. The Panthers beat us, and we destroyed the Aints. I mean, it's just the upside down world of the Atlanta Falcons. What can you say?
Yep.
Look at
if you don't. You've got to laugh about it, Des. That's it.
What I would say is, if we want to know whether the season's over or not, there's only one season where we could look, and that's 2023. Because after week 12 in the 2023 NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was 4-7. And then went on a 5-1 run and won the NFC South with a 9-8 record. Now, so it is possible. Do I think we're going to do it? No, absolutely not, because we'll probably go in and lose to the Jets on Sunday, because that's what we do. We've then got the Seahawks after that, which is going to be a tough game. We've then got the Buccaneers, then the Cardinals, then the Rams. So effectively, we've got what you would say, effectively 3 playoff teams in our last games: Seahawks, the Falcons, and the Rams. You know what I mean?
Yep. So that just means that we'd be left with one big question to throw back out there to the fans and the people watching, and that would be Atlanta Falcons. There's not many games to go left, so if you want to make something out of this season, show me who you want to be. Where do we want to go with this year? So that's what I would ask. But yeah, we're going to keep asking the hard questions until things come right, because we know that's what you love from us, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So before we wind things down, just a reminder as always that you can join the panels. We're always looking for new guys to come on, share the love of the Falcons, talk about everything that's been going on in the A. Maybe a bit further afield, because Des and I have been talking for the last few months about getting into some college football, pro wrestling, all that good stuff as well. So keep your eyes peeled, keep it Celtic, and your boys promise we will always endeavour to do the same. But if the guys are trying to find you, Des, I know a lot of people have been watching on there recently, but where can they find you?
Well, after you kicked off, mate, they can find me in the hospital after I nearly had a heart attack when you disappeared. But apart from that, they can find me on X, where a lot of the guys are watching just now on Scottish Falcons. So that's effectively where I'm at.
And we appreciate you all again for tuning in. And the amount of comments and contacts we've been gaining through X has been really great to see as well. So just keep them coming is all we can say. And if you're looking for me, assuming my internet's working and I can actually get on with you, then you'll find me at Will the Thriller and everything. So as I say, keep your eyes peeled on Facebook, on Twitter, all that good stuff, because there's a lot of really cool plans in the pipeline pertaining to the Scottish Falcons channel. So, as I say, this is just the first season of many days. So, it's a pleasure as always to have you on with me, my brother.
No problem. It's always a pleasure, mate. And I've got to say, shout out to everybody. I mean, it's Thanksgiving, and we've had some fantastic numbers in watching us. So hopefully your turkey's moist and your pumpkin pie's delicious. When
it's like
Kevin,
you're making me jealous. I almost want to throw an extra celebration in there just so we can get some scran, as we would say in Scotland. So if we're coming over towards the tail end of a season one time, just be sure to put your boys aside a couple of plates.
I mean, what I would say is I'm desperate to taste. You hear is it coloured greens or
coloured greens? Yeah,
coloured greens. You hear people talk about coloured greens, and I'm like, I would love. I don't know what exactly it is, but it just sounds. It's like the way they make it or something. It just sounds amazing.
It sounds great, but I've been warned from certain people in the south. Don't do what Kamala Harris done. Don't make your coloured greens in the bath. That's not the done thing. Apparently, or so I've been told. But I digress. But as I say, we will see you guys again same time on Saturday. But until then, as always, remember that Des and I, we love our ATL. And before we once again wish good night to our family in America, all you dirty birds that watch us, we would remind you as always that pain is international, but so is passion. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving. We'll give you your evening back, and we will see you on Saturday.
Guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.